Commission has been given the green light to continue with activities towards the December 7 polls. An Accra High Court this morning dismissed the case filed by the UFP's Nana Ejene Boateng, challenging his disqualification from the election. The EC on October 19 announced that 12 candidates have been cleared to contest the polls. Mr. Ejene Boateng was one of the individuals who had his form rejected, with the EC explaining 3 persons who endorsed his form have denied doing so. He dragged the commission to the High Court, seeking to be allowed to contest the polls.
It's amazing that it has okay. So I'm waiting for my lawyers to get the ruling.
But are you surprised with the decision the court has arrived at?
It's amazing. It looks as if they wrote it for her to read. So
why are you saying that?
No, because it's amazing to me, my understanding, for her to read the judgment like this. But I respect the supremacy of rule of law. So if she has said so, I'm waiting for my lawyers.
But you thought you had a good case?
Oh yes, I had a good case and she repeated it. I had a good case. She said it. That I had a good case. They did not consult me anywhere. So we pray for the best, because it looks as if our judicial is being manipulated, and where Ghana is heading towards, because the last result for anything is the judicial system. So if this thing continue on, then Ghana, we are heading towards Banana Republic.
Is this the end of the road for your intent to file for a review?
Oh yeah, we will go for review.
Now, still on elections, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, EC Jean Mensah, says the commission is 95% ready for the December 7 elections. Briefing MPs on plans ahead of the polls, she assured the EC is ready to deliver a credible, free and fair election.
It is important to emphasize that this is the first time I have been invited to the House in my capacity as chairperson of the Electoral Commission. I have on no occasion turned down an invitation from the Parliament of Ghana. As an individual who has been at the forefront of championing Ghana's democratic development for 20 years, I respect and value the institutions of state, a major institution being the Parliament of Ghana. Indeed, we received notice of your invitation to the Commission on the night of Wednesday, the 4th of November 2020, at the time when some of us were outside the jurisdiction. Our Deputy Chairman for Corporate Services informed the Majority Leader about this and made arrangements for our presentation to be delivered to Parliament today. Speaker, I'm pleased to inform you that the Electoral Commission is 95% ready for the successful, credible, fair, orderly and peaceful conduct of the election in December 2020.
Jean Mensah announced that various electoral items, including ballot boxes, have been distributed across the country. She said the printing of ballot papers is underway.
Mr. Speaker, the Commission has procured a wide variety of election materials for the 2020 elections. These include ballot boxes, stationery, tampering pads, identification jackets, rechargeable lamps, indelible ink, educational posters, seals, to mention a few. As we speak, distribution of these items to our regions and districts is well underway. I can confirm that as a result of a thorough planning and distribution mechanism deployed, we are about 95% done with the distribution of election materials to our various locations across the country. Mr. Speaker, you may be aware that the Commission procured and built a brand new data center and a disaster recovery center. The budget for the data center and the disaster recovery center is as follows: 35,738,844 Ghana cedis and 20 pesos. We have made an actual payment of 21,011,352 Ghana cedis and 61 pesos to the vendors. We have a balance of 14,727,491 Ghana cedis and 51 pesewas to pay. I'm pleased to report that all the infrastructure deployed, mainly the verification kits, the biometric registration kits, the verification kits, the software, and the data centers are functioning efficiently.
Ms. Mensah says the Electoral Commission will transmit the 2020 results manually while assuring credibility in the process.
Results will not be electronically transmitted. What we are doing is to set up the fax system and to have an email system, so the results would, of course, from the polling stations, once they collate it, they would physically take them to the collation centers. Once they are collated at the collation centers, they will physically take the results to the regional offices. When everything is done and the results have been signed by the parties, the forms will then be faxed to us, sent to us by email, and so on. And so it will be still manual. We will not transmit electronically. Assembly Press has worked with the Commission printing ballots since the year 1992. Indeed, I think the Assembly Press and Back Press they are the longest printing houses that have worked with the Commission printing both presidential and parliamentary ballots since 1992. The question that you raised was with the credibility of the managing director. We do not know the managing director. We know the systems that we have employed, because I do not believe that we are confident in the transparent systems that have been employed. And you may be aware that the party agents are briefed about the printing houses. They monitor the process for 24 hours. They have a 24-hour chain, and nobody leaves the center. So irrespective of who manages the center, I think the processes that have been deployed are transparent and credible.
Now, an independent candidate contesting the Hohoe parliamentary seat, Isaac Newton Nyame, has ridiculed his dismissal from the opposition National Democratic Congress. According to him, he had already forfeited his membership of the party when he conceived the idea to run as an independent candidate and debunked rumors that he had been disqualified from contesting the Kpando parliamentary seat. He was speaking to JoyNews after a press conference by the concerned youth of Hohoe,
who were dismissed by the NDC for failing to contest as independent parliamentary candidates in the December 7 polls. However, the concerned youth of Kpando does not seem to be disturbed about this dismissal. According to the group, they endorsed the candidature of Mr. Nyame since the NDC was bent on presenting the non-performing incumbent, Madame de la Soa. Kojo Adai is the convener of the concerned youth group of Kpando.
Over the decades, we do not know what our representatives that we voted for in this constituency, Kpando, on the ticket of NDC, have been doing in Parliament. Indeed, after voting for them, all we see them do is to buy big cars and reach their immediate families and bring the crumbs to the constituents in the form of pieces of cloth, Wellington boots, cutlass, Ghana city notes, fertilizer. Just to mention a few. This year, we have decided to change this myopic narrative by rallying behind one of our own, the youth, Isaac Newton Nyame. We therefore have no doubt that Isaac Newton Nyame can best perform this task. And we, the teeming youth of Kpando constituency, come 7th December, we will vote for him to become the next member of parliament for Kpando constituency. We are therefore convinced that the NDC as a party in Kpando constituency, NDC in Kpando constituency, is not interested in the development of the constituency. And that we, the concerned youth of Kpando constituency, would advise ourselves on who to vote as president.
Speaking to JoyNews, Mr. Nyame expressed utmost surprise at the rumor of his disqualification from the parliamentary context.
What marvels me is the rate at which the NDC is making mischief of this, telling the populace that I am no longer contesting as an MP, not telling them that they had dismissed me as a member of the NDC, but their secretary and other people are going around telling the people that I am no longer standing as an MP and I have been disqualified. This is the message I want to send clear to the people of Pando, that I am still in the race. I am number 4 on the ballot sheet, and I pray that come December 7th, they vote me as MP for Pando constituency.
What are your chances of wrestling the seat from Dalasio?
Well, I know that God makes kings. That's number 1. So I know my God is going to give me this seat, and I will do marvelously as an MP for the people of Pando.
Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Pando.
Now, the Ghana Blind Union is advocating equal opportunity in accessing political campaign materials as Ghana's election 2020 draws closer. The group says under no circumstance should members miss out on the election campaign euphoria. Emmanuel Osei has more.
Political parties distribute flyers, T-shirts, cards and other party paraphernalia during campaign seasons. But what happens to the visually impaired who cannot have a glimpse of the colorful party flyers and manifesto brochures? Leaders of various blind associations have expressed worry on the exemption on accessing such materials. George Martin and Alfred Tebiamponsa are leaders of the various Ghana blind unions.
Oh no, their manifestos are not embraced. Only NDC who made yes embrace. They should also know that we're also part and parcel of the country, and for that matter, whatever they do, they should also give us equal opportunity. So their manifesto should be in accessible formats, so we can also benefit. Yes, now. Then we have been taking initiative to appeal to a lot of people, but the response is not encouraging.
And those with visual impairment as me, you sometimes have to get the audio recording so that I can read and hear whatever the politician is saying. If they are planning, they have to plan and sit with us. And if they have their manifesto, at times not all the parties have it in Braille.
Their concerns were raised during a donation of white canes by the Calvary Charismatic Center to the union in Kumasi. Project's lead Ivan Fumado says close to 5,000 people in the region are visually impaired and have no white canes to aid their movement. A white cane allows its users to scan the environment for obstacles, and it's helpful for onlookers to identify the user as visually impaired. Mr. Fumado advised drivers and other road users to respect the white cane.
We would have been glad if we had gotten 4,700 canes to distribute to all of them, to make them empowered. And that would even make them more visible, so that drivers and others who do not know that they are white canes, they'll start seeing them more and they'll be conversant with it. So if we can get advocacy out there, and then the roads and highways, urban roads, feeder roads can also help cover our drains. And then people can also move away from the streets that we are supposed to walk on, the pedestrian walkways. It would also help very much.
Head pastor of CCC, Pastor Ranks Fodobin, who donated a white stick to the Ghana Blind Union, also advised individuals to handle handicapped persons with care and compassion. He also cautioned the general public on the need to maintain the peace the country enjoys.
Drivers, taxi drivers, motor riders, pedestrians, that anytime you see somebody with a white cane, it means that the person needs your assistance, needs your help, needs your respect. One of the things I want to tell all Ghanaians is that we are a peaceful, loving people. The legacy of peace God has given us is more precious than money, than our oil, than our gold.
Reporting for JoyNews, Emmanuel Osei, Kumasi.
Now, security agencies have been told to clamp down on persons and institutions flouting the COVID-19 safety protocols. Cases have been rising sharply in the last few weeks, sending the country's case counts to 1,156 from a low of 150 last month. Markets and workplaces have been identified as the high-risk areas, as many refuse to wear the face masks. This morning, the country's COVID-19 management team has been addressing the issues forcing the surge. Here's Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abwaje.
Our active cases stands at 1,320. But you can see the regional breakdown. The significant number of all the cases, about 861 of them, is from Greater Accra alone. So accounting for almost over 70 to 80% of all the cases. We've following about 3,835 cases. The number of hospital beds, this is not the number of people in the hospital, the number of hospital beds available. Still, our hospitalization is very, very low, as I mentioned earlier. We have 926 beds available in case of a surge. Our isolation capacity is 744 across the country. Greater Accra has 140 now because we are no more using the Pentecost Convention Center, which was given about 600 beds. We have about 67 ICU beds for COVID, and we have 259 locations for quarantine. So this is just giving us the level of our preparedness as a country. Even though we are rising, we don't have high hospitalization and number of critical cases. So this is where we are all going to ensure that we work towards bringing these numbers down. We've also done something about face masks. I'm sure we shared it here before. We had done a series of almost 7 surveys in Ghana, mainly in Accra. The regions have done that, but this surge is currently in Accra, and so we are focusing more in Accra. Now, of that, the sample so far we've done, total sample size used about 95,372 people have been surveyed. And the first one was in August, and all the way, the latest one was in early October when we did the survey. As we had mentioned earlier, we did Abobloshi, Makola, Kaneshi, Malata, Tema Community 1, and Ashama were the areas we did that. We also did some shopping malls in Accra, Accra Mall, ANC Mall, West Hills Mall, St. Junction Mall. We had also done an assessment in the streets and lorry parks across the country in the area that had been mentioned, and also have followed people on some trot road route to see what's really happening as people move.
You're live on JoyNews today. Now, Information Minister Kojo Ohoa-Nkrumah has directed the security agencies to begin a clampdown on those flouting the directives.
We have reiterated our call to the security agencies and to the operators of activities in enclosed spaces to ensure that there's compliance. Our general approach has been first, even using the security agencies, to do more of education and urging compliance. So you'll find that when enforcement was a bit higher, when the police or other agencies engage, they seek to urge compliance rather than seek to arrest and prosecute and detain. Because as we mentioned, the intendment is to get compliance rather than, and if you look at these numbers, rather than arrest these millions of people and seek to prosecute and to jail them. So the idea has been to urge compliance, and that's why this morning we are reiterating that call that the security agencies and operators of activities in enclosed places should do more of that. The President mentioned last night that it appears that we are letting down our guard. And so it is a collective responsibility matter that we all have to rise up to.
Now, Bismark Kweku Asante has been at this news conference and joins us with more. Kweku, we understand the Ghana Health Service has been sharing insights into a survey it's conducted which shows the number of people wearing masks are going down. Bismark, tell us more.
Well, Daniel, so Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji of the Ghana Health Service has been sharing some numbers, and the numbers are pretty staggering. He's been saying that they conducted some surveys in markets, trot terminals, and also even in some closed workplaces, among other things. And that what they realized was that the number of people who were wearing masks as of the time that the Ghana's case numbers were very high have moved from 44%. That wasn't even up to 50%. It has moved from 44% to now 10%. So people who are wearing masks have really gone down. And then in terms of this one that is really scary are the people who are not wearing the masks at all. According to Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, 18% of people, 18% of Ghanaians used to wear the face mask. But now, 72% of the Ghanaian population, especially those who were surveyed, do not wear the mask at all. Those are very, very interesting numbers that have been coming in, and that comes on the back of Kojo Oponkume's suggestion that the security agencies must really do enough to clamp down on Ghanaians and other people who are not wearing the mask, who are not paying attention to the COVID-19 preventive protocols. Daniel.
Now, Kweku, what is the government saying about the cases being recorded in workplaces, which they attribute to the surge in the country's numbers?
Well, so Daniel, I asked the question to the Information Minister and then to Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje that there have been suggestions that the rise in probably is the data they have seems to suggest that there are a lot of companies that are recording cases and not political activities. They went ahead to cite some situations where they say that there are some workplaces where if persons record cases, they just send it to some private lab to run the test. They ask those people to go home without conducting tests among other people that they might have contact to. And so Kojo Oponkume is saying that a lot of companies, fishing companies, among other things, they did not mention those specific companies' names, but they've been saying that those have been the reasons why the case numbers have really been increasing and not because of political activities. Daniel.
Thank you very much, Bismark Asante, for those updates from the news conference. Meanwhile, the head of Disease Surveillance Department of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Isiedu Bekwe, has revealed that majority of the cases in the Greater Accra region were recorded in Ayawaso West, but clarified that it was because most testing centers in the region are located in that district. Now we move on to other stories, and residents of Old Tafozongo, a suburb of Kumasi, are living in fear after a 9-year-old boy was found in a tightly knotted sack on Saturday night. The Usman Sattar is believed to have been kidnapped and almost suffocated to death in the sack left at a corner of a compound house in the community. A passerby spotted the sack and went close to it out of suspicion, only to find the almost lifeless body of the boy, rescued him and quickly rushed him to the hospital. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
I left the house to pray. When I saw the sack at the entrance, my instinct told me it was a human being. I got close and checked with the light on my phone, and I saw his hair, confirmed that it is a human being. I called someone else to look at it, and he also confirmed that it was a human being. So we untied the sack and found the boy. He was weak and unconscious. We sat him down and gave him malt and water before we sent him to the hospital.
Though there have been similar cases in the past, residents say this is more surprising.
And our operation somewhere in about 5 to 10 minutes no more operation. Because I am near Sala. Me kura Sala ni ejame. Enti be pieso. We believe
the authors of the crime may have embarked on it just in the blink of an eye. We do not know of his current condition. Those who have been with him in the hospital can update us. We only came to see the boy in the sack wearing a white shirt and khaki trousers, but we don't know the perpetrators.
This is condition. This is
I went to Nur Rahman Medical Center where 9-year-old Usman Sattar was sent to check his condition. Nurses had already treated Usman and he was due for discharge after about an hour of admission.
He's one of my children who nearly got killed today. We don't know where they caught him. He went to sell when evil people offered to buy. It is through God's grace that the boy is still alive. They would have killed him.
Mother of the boy, Sadia Mumin, pleads with parents to be very vigilant about their children.
I implore all parents to look after their children very well. I urge all mothers to look after their children. They should not let them wander. We are not going to send him out again. It won't happen anymore.
Residents are now on alert to avoid similar occurrences. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin joins us on the line. Mahmoud, where's the boy now? Right, we'll reconnect with Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin a bit later in the day, but patrons of the 2020 JoyNews Habitat Fair say their housing needs were satisfied after they visited the ACCRA International Conference Center for this year's event. With good deals, special offers and discounts available at majority of the stands, potential homeowners and exhibitors left the venue of the three-day event with broad smiles. Maxwell Akbakba has more.
Well, it's the Habitat Fair here at the foyer of the ACCRA International Conference Center. A lot of the patrons here are getting very good deals, many of them very excited. Quite a number of testimonies I'm going to share with you later here.
The foyer of the ACCRA International Conference Center was transformed into a one-stop shop for everything housing. Meet James. He just returned from the US.
But I'm here on holidays, and you know, I have a few properties. Okay. And I'm trying. My wife wants us to move to Ghana completely. Oh, okay. So I'm shopping around.
You're shopping around.
Yeah, shopping around. Yeah, to
Great.
see.
And I'm sure you found, you know, some good deals here.
Yeah, so far it looks like there's some good deals here. I'm really loving the vibes. You know, yeah. Ghana has really improved. Yeah. Ghana is it's a future now, now in Africa. So it's good to have things like this where you can, you know, purchase a home and stuff like that. So yeah. One-stop shop. Yeah. I mean, if you want anything to do with house, you can get them here. You know, so it's a good thing.
The theme for the 2020 event was what credible alternatives for shelter are there in Ghana if affordable housing will forever remain a mirage. David Taylor knows how difficult it is for young people like him to own a house. He says he had great education on a wide range of options.
Well, so far it's been rather enlightening. Learning a lot more than I actually thought when it comes to owning a house or an apartment in general. It's nice to know there are structures in place to allow young men to actually own some of these properties instead of just renting all the time.
Yao Ejay says the JoyNews Habitat Fair absorbs the burden many potential homeowners face.
Well, it's been insightful. Basically, it's great knowing what's on offer.
Okay.
Often you probably just have conversations about getting a property without knowing what the full options are. So basically, for me, driving here today, that's my takeaway. So we run crazy schedules. Monday to Friday, it's just ridiculous. So to find time out of your schedule to move, go around to look for properties, we don't have the time for that.
We don't have time
so this actually it's been an answer to a need that I believe young people like myself have right now.
My name is Antonia Bosu.
Okay. And you are
I'm the Brands and Media Relations Officer for DBS Refame. Okay. We want to say thank you to JoyNews for all that, for partnering with us actually, and for us to be a part of this program. We are very much grateful, and then we hope that, in fact, we are not hoping, we are going to be a part of this every year.
It's quite interesting. I've been here for some time now. I think it's the answer to our housing problem.
The number of testimonies that we've heard so far here at the ACCRA International Conference Center. There was a lady I spoke to earlier. She told me that her uncle actually sent money, remitted money to Ghana to be used to construct a 3-bedroom apartment.
Let's go back to our earlier story where residents of Old Tafozongo, a suburb of Kumasi, are living in fear after a 9-year-old boy was found in a tightly knotted sack on Saturday night. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has joined us on the line. Nuruddin, has the boy been able to speak and told us what has happened to him?
Hello, Daniel.
Right. Nuruddin, has the boy spoken?
Yes, Daniel. I hardly hear you. You can repeat what you said.
Has the boy spoken?
Yes, the boy has been able to speak to the parents. I mean, what happened was that he was sent out to sell banana, and these guys called him, and he explained to the boy. They used an handkerchief to, on his nose, and so he collapsed. And they carried him away, and so that was what the boy could remember. They called him like they wanted to buy the banana, and so they used an handkerchief on his nose. They placed an handkerchief on his nose, and he collapsed, and then they carried him away. So that is the only thing the boy can, remember now. But the parents are suspecting that this particular person might have known the boy for a very long time, or he has been monitoring the boy for a very long time. That's why he was able to embark on that evil act.
So have they reported the case to the police?
Well, I was around. I went there this morning, but at the time I went there, they were yet to make a case at the police station. We actually told them that they should go and make a case because this is an issue that the police would be interested, and they would be want to, investigate to know who actually conducted that kind of activity. So,
but how is the boy doing now? How is the boy doing now?
He's doing fine. The prayer of the family was that the boy could be able to speak, and now he speaks, and he's eating well. He's doing well.
Okay. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, thank you very much for joining us. Coming up in business here in JoyNews today, cargo and haulage drivers in northern region kick against numerous checkpoints from Kumasi to Tamale, claiming extortion by police. Daryl Kwao has more.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Two transport unions, the National Cargo and Haulage Transport Unions in the Northern Region, are kicking against what they describe as extortion barriers mounted by the police from Kumasi to Tamale. According to the transporters, there are about 53 checkpoints between Kumasi and Tamale alone. They've appealed to the Inspector General of Police to intervene. Here's Martina Bugay's report.
The owners, drivers and driver mates, as well as their loading boys, halted work for over an hour in a silent protest. Then they briefed the press on challenges they go through on the highway. Mohammed Hafiz, who read the speech on behalf of the regional chairman of the two unions, raised concerns of alleged extortions, harassment, and arbitrary arrest.
The Motor Traffic and Transport Department, this is a concern and an issue directed to them. At the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is on record that the Inspector General of Police issued a directive that all roads that was blocked should be removed with immediate effect. The National Cargo Transport Drivers Union and Haulage Drivers Union Association, we are not opposed to the roadblocks by the police per se. It is meant to check certain crimes by errant drivers and other road users. However, the police are most at times overzealous in performing their duties. They harass and intimidate our drivers, especially the cargo drivers. Our drivers are sometimes handcuffed like common criminals for just minor offenses, and sometimes not even a trump-up charge. There are as many as 53 roadblocks between Asante region and the northern region. Our drivers are harassed and intimidated at each of the roadblocks, but from Kumasi to Accra, our drivers does not face such challenges. Mr. Inspector General of Police, we cannot remember you giving contrary directives regarding the removal of the roadblocks. The roadblocks are back and they are more intimidating than before. Our union want to know from the high office of the chief of the country why roadblocks are still mounted despite your directive for their removal.
He also raised concerns about ACCRA weighing charges on foodstuff and overcharging without measuring of load by the Ghana Highway Authority.
In other news, President Akufo-Addo says government will sanction airlines that fail to enforce stringent 72-hour COVID-19 tests for all passengers. According to the president, this is part of additional measures to deal with the surge in active cases of COVID-19. The president disclosed this when he gave an update on the country's situation.
With the imposition of stringent testing measures at the airport, we have so far been able to detect 172 positive cases among some 54,000 arriving international passengers. The airport authorities will continue to demand that passengers arriving in the country should be in possession of a 72-hour-old negative PCR test. And we will continue to sanction airlines that flout this directive. The health authorities will intensify the follow-up process of arriving passengers, even when they have tested negative, to help ensure we have ruled out any possible infection that may have occurred during the period of embarkation and disembarkation.
All right, we've got a full bulletin of business news at the top of the hour. Stay tuned, the news continues after this break.
Well, that's the latest with the Black Stars. Remember, Ghana still top their group with 6 points, having played against Sao Tome, Principe, and then South Africa. Well, they'll be playing Sudan this Thursday, and we'll be keeping you up to date on what the preparations on that are, as they do come in. But before we go, let's revisit the local scene and talk about Asante Kotoko, where their former striker, Eric Bekwe, has questioned the club's decision to, signed quite a number of players in the just ended transfer window. Now, the Porcupine Warriors secured the services of 9 players, and Eric Bekwe believes that that is not the way to go if the club is to get back to the top.
Porcupine Warriors are one of the teams who have been extremely busy in the transfer window, which ended last month. They have boosted their squad with 9 players, including Brazilian international Fabio Gama. Concerns have been raised as to how these players will gel and play with cohesion. Former Kotoko striker and 2007-2008 Golden Boot winner in the Ghana Premier League, Eric Bekwe, on last Friday's GPL Primer, the Kotoko edition, expressed his unhappiness with the plethora of signings at the club.
It's not that good for a club because you need to think about the consistency of the team as well. And then also secondly, when a car is having problem, you don't go for a new car, but you look at the parts that are not functioning. Then you go in for the parts to replace them. So it's not about you signing enough players. You see, when quality is not around, quantity is being appreciated. And that is what is going on. You understand? So I think the management are doing their own, all right. But I think about the recruitment, is the coach also playing part? One, Kotoko is like the University of Ghana football. Yeah. I've been saying this all this while. The spirit is in now because this is the jersey I did the wonders with. And this is the jersey that I'm wearing.
The jersey, that famous jersey that was torn.
That was torn.
Well, that was a report put together by Joyce Sports Haruna Mubarak, and that's the note on which we'll be ending the sports here. We do have more sports stories for you, and Sports Today comes your way at 4:30 p.m. But the Joy News Today continues right after this.
And welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews. Today with me, Mapita CBD. Now, actor and TV star Mickey Osei-Boko says he's unhappy about how the government is handling the creative arts industry.
Creative minds, our creative arts industry, and as a council government,
on what we need. And your government be and check creative us know what we need and what to do at what times. Dabi. We need to counsel the government of governance of what the creative arts needs. What we need to progress. Sana the first Bekano. Ya brasa, ya juma sa. Even we can create the awareness of a juma no ya no. And who faswa ma no. We ourselves as creative arts people, we are not capable of telling the country governors, policymakers of importance of Juma.